All righty. Well, welcome to Fight Back Media. And this is a special edition of the Morning Report that is not being done in the morning unless you're on the other side of the planet. Which is why I say it's always morning somewhere. Always.
This is true.
So somewhere in some foreign land, somebody's crawling out of bed and they're dragging themselves to work, cursing it the whole time. Don't want to get in that traffic, don't want to, commute, all that stuff, just like you did. Forget governments and all that stuff. That's what makes the planet all one people. We all have the same disdain for our mundane lives. Anyway, as you can see, reporting in from the most northern, the accent of Canada, as I always said, is my friend Paul Swansen. Paul and I have been on this journey together for it's been a long time, Paul. It's been a long time.
2007, 2008.
Yes, good Lord, man. We both remember when Barack Obama was president the first time. Now he's president the third time now, but that's something else entirely different.
That's a whole nother
other issue.
Yeah, whole nother issue, a whole nother video podcast.
So Paul's got a bunch of his own stuff happening. Paul, before we get started, because we're going to talk about this whole primary season. Anyway, tell folks how they can get a hold of your stuff, and because Paul's got a newsletter and blog that he does dang near every day. Great stuff. You can subscribe. You can buy him a cup of coffee. You can do all sorts of stuff to keep encouraging us to tell the truth, while the truth seems to be so hard to find.
This is so. Well, obviously, yes, it's when I feel up to it, not when I feel up to it. When I'm not busy doing 16 other things.
Got you.
Yeah, our the Swansen Report and Fight Back Media, or the Morning Report on Facebook, is probably the most logical spot to get it. You can find links to everything, both individual blog posts and the newsletter, which goes out through Substack. Appreciate you subscribing. So sometimes Substack is probably a little lighter, a little more frivolous, I guess, if you will. Just because we all need a little bit of
levity in this mess.
Yeah, a little bit of levity in our daily lives. So we try to find some funny stuff. PaulSwansen.com for the blog post. Those are both posted there and posted on all the usual suspect internet spots.
There you go. Wherever podcasts are sold.
That's right. That is it.
All right. We are again in this primary season. Primary season is just expanding. It seems to be longer and longer and less useful, in my opinion, every single year. Let's go back and because we haven't had a chance to talk to people about it, let's go back and talk about the beginning of this season, where on the Republican side, we had Ron DeSantis, Chris Christie, which is Paul's personal favorite. Not really, not at all. Vivek Ramaswamy.
I don't have any Krispy Kreme donut places up here to try to help him out. So
I think he's making his way to the South, because we got some Krispy Kreme for you. We got Dunkin' and Krispy Kreme, so
ooh.
Yes, indeedy. So he may be moving here too. But anyway, so we had him, and of course Nikki Haley, Asia Hutchinson. I don't even know who Asia Hutchinson is. Did you ever find out?
Former governor
of Rhode Island, some really small, insignificant place in the Union.
One of those states that you don't hear about
ever
much too often. Montana, Idaho.
Oh my God, Montana! Yeah, because Montana is definitely the tail wagging the dog. Okay, not really. Okay, then. So and there seemed to be, and there were even some more. Uh,
No, I was right. I should have gone with my gut. He was former governor. He was the 46th governor of Arkansas from 2015 to 2023.
oh, so he was a governor. Um,
Prior to prior to
yeah, the bass player's the bass player's daughter.
yeah,
Yeah, okay,
her.
gotcha. Yeah, cool, cool. Well, Arkansas. Yeah, that's one of those southern states that even people in the South forget about. Oh yeah, Arkansas. That's in the South. That's right.
Yeah, yeah. That's I should know about that.
You
That's
go.
where my grandparents lived. So anyway,
Wow.
um, yeah, yeah, there were at this not like the 2020 or well the previous, but there were a fair number of wannabes, I guess. That's the best way to say it.
Well, back in 2016, where
We
there
had
was, I don't know, 17.
oh there were yeah, there were that many and more.
It was crazy. It was crazy. So, how do you think all this is work? How do you think all this has worked out? Right now, the talk on the Republican side. We'll talk about the Democrat side in a minute. The Republican side is basically this one and well a half man race here. We're talking about Donald Trump and Nikki Haley being the only quote viable, if Nikki Haley could be considered viable,
Yeah.
candidates to win the Republican nomination. How is that playing out where you see it, where you live?
I don't think anybody up here is really aware talking about it or otherwise. Like we were talking prior to when we started, it was the primary here is not until the first week of April.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't think anybody's really concerning them that I think, and I'm not even sure that anybody's even watching what's going on otherwise. There's enough other parochial interests here locally in the state to probably keep track, or keep everybody's mind off of national issues. Um, they, you know, Joe's been here once or twice, maybe, I think, down in heavily Democratic Milwaukee area, as has the word salad lady. Um,
I think he's talking about Kamala Harris
I think so.
or Kamala
Yeah,
or
whoever, whatever. Well, yeah,
whatever.
yeah. They've been here, but and only I think because the convention is going to be in Milwaukee this year.
Ooh boy.
So I think they're trying to. I don't know if they're bringing in, extra chairs or something.
He just makes the chairs. Got any chairs in the White House that you can put on Air Force One and just drop them by? Could you?
Yeah, just drop them by. Now they may be, they may be bringing extra, fencing and razor wire. I'm not sure.
I'm guessing they're not bringing any of that stuff. And again, completely different conversation
Yeah,
about razor wire and what's happening in Texas.
but yeah, there's not much going on. I have yet to see, although it's getting pretty close at this point. Um, there should be some sample ballots out for people to look at here pretty soon. I think they run those about 6 weeks in advance of the actual primary. So we'll see. And it's not a, it's not a, it's, when you and I grew up, it was a presidential primary or it was a primary season. Now it's what's the term?
Presidential preference primary?
Yeah, 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 exactly. It's a presidential preference vote.
Yeah, because that's what we're having here in Florida. And because nobody is officially on the ballot on the Democrat side of the ballot, facing President Biden, Democrats are not even going are being asked are being told there's nothing for you to go and do. Nothing for you to go and do. This is completely a Republican thing.
This is the Leslie Nielsen way of doing voting. Nothing to see here. Move along.
That's exactly right. So that's what's happening. So that's what's happening here. I you know what, I wish that we were all caught up in things, all things parochial here in the state of Florida, but we are not, and that is too bad because there's all sorts of stuff going on that we need to start taking a closer look at. We've said, you and I have said for years and years and years, that the power of your vote is local, and
Yes.
if you want these changes that everybody talks about, we want to take back our country and we want to do all that stuff, but unless you can control your own community, you have no shot. Unless you don't I did the show yesterday, day before yesterday, well, Thursday, I guess that was, that Brian Stelter is running for school board in New Jersey. Do you know that?
Yeah, I saw your bit on that. Yeah.
And the idea is, don't let him be on the school board. Just
he,
don't.
he's got no business being anywhere near a school.
No, don't let that happen, because school boards are a breeding ground for leftist activists. It's a breeding ground, and because nothing's sexy about school board elections, because or being on the school board, because you talk about things like air conditioning and making sure that you have enough crayons in the elementary school, all that stuff, and people don't realize that that's the back door a lot of these activists, these leftist activists, get into when they get into politics. That's how they build their organizations. Don't let Brian Stelter, New Jersey, do not let Brian Stelter end up on the school board in Reddington Township. Don't do it. But I wish we cared more about that kind of stuff. And we are on the Morning Report. We're going to go super local and start talking about school board elections everywhere, because it's very, very important in my view, and it's the easiest thing to get involved in.
I will make a note of that too, because like I said, the election sample ballots, if you will, should be coming out here pretty soon, so we can also drill down,
Yes,
make some copies of it and put them up so that people can see things, because I'm sure there are going to be some countywide and local type of community issues that people may or may not be aware of, and they kind of slough them off because
don't be fooled. You didn't get drag queen story time because of Joe Biden. You didn't. You didn't. You didn't get dragged. You didn't get any of that stuff that's happening in your schools because of Joe Biden. You didn't. You got it because you didn't pay attention who you were allowing on your school board. Who are the people who pick the principals and the assistant principals in the schools your kids go to. That's how you got drag queen story time. That's how you got it.
Yep.
You got it in your public library because whoever runs your public library in your town or your county or your city, that got elected, and that's how you got drag queen story time at your public library. Not because of Joe Biden, not even because of Kamala Harris, because
no, and it's been going on much longer. And I did post something yesterday, day before, about why this sort of stuff comes up, because you find there is a term called the mere exposure effect.
What's that?
MERE-exposure effect. And this is one of those psychological type of things that people tend to develop a preference for things. Why? Merely because they're familiar with them, or they hear them time and time again.
Makes sense.
And I posted that on the website, and I think I probably distributed that. If not, I'll make sure we do that.
Please do.
But that's why, to your point, that's why you see these things in your local schools or libraries or wherever, is we keep hearing that time and time, and we've been hearing it for years. and everybody, what's uh, who's the Marxist guy? If you repeat a lie enough, people begin to,
People believe it. It becomes truth.
yeah. And that's what it is. You just, it's not done accusatorially or in any other way, but it's more just mentioned in passing.
You just
And
keep
we
doing
keep
it.
hearing it, and we
Keep
keep
saying it.
hearing it, we keep hearing it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, yeah, that must be what's so.
Because people go, well, everybody say, everybody says that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The power of your vote is local. That is for sure. Now we want to
Yeah.
talk about some of the things going on in the presidential primary president. Yeah, I can't say that. That's got too many P's.
Too much alliteration.
Too much alliteration. But we're gonna take a little break because we need to restart the live. Don't go anywhere. Just click on the thing, get back because I'm not upgrading the pro for Zoom. I'm not doing it. Just not doing it. Really, not doing it. Not doing it. Not paying the money. I'm not going to do it. All right, because I want to talk about Nikki Haley and Nikki Haley's role in this primary because I think it's interesting to a degree, and I want to get what you're thinking about it. So we're going to stop this and
What's going on, Tampa? Jeff Dow from JD's Pressure Washing here again, and we wanted to share something really cool with you that we're going to be doing that you can be a part of. Tampa is home to 21,000 veterans. We all love our vets, and being one myself, we wanted to find a way that we could give back. So here's what we're going to do. For every 10 jobs that we do that are $300 or more, we're going to do one veteran home for free. Now, when I say home, we're talking house wash, driveway, sidewalks, and perimeter fence if they have one. So I need your help with exposure on this so that we can get the jobs that we need as well as the veteran homes to clean, which is going to be a total surprise for them. We're going to show up, knock on the door, and let them know right then and there in the moment what it is that we're going to be doing for them. It is going to be pretty cool. And here's a bonus offer for all of you who help us with this. We're also going to offer 15% off all cleaning that's over $300 just to say thanks. So if you could do me a huge favor, like, comment, and share this video so that we can get the word out and start cleaning homes of veterans right here in Tampa.
Nikki Haley, former governor of South Carolina, ambassador to the UN,
Under Donald Trump.
Under Donald Trump. So it seems like, because I've got a guy at work who was trying to make the case for Haley earlier on, and I was listening. It seems like she ought to have the executive experience because I'm a fan. I'm generally a fan of governors because they've kind of already done it in sort of in a microcosm with budgets and all. Not that anybody deals with a budget at the federal level, obviously.
They don't as they cannot explain or give you a definition of a woman, they cannot do the same for a budget either.
Nobody talks about, oh yeah, but that's not in the budget. That's a phrase that you don't hear on the Hill for sure. But it would seem like governors have done all these things on a smaller scale and have some experience doing it. It would seem like that Nikki Haley checks off a lot of boxes. Why is she? Let's see. I was just looking at it on Real Clear Politics, on the national poll averages of Real Clear Politics. Why is she only garnering 15.1% of a favorable rating nationwide? And why did she lose her home state?
There's that follow the money. Of course, Koch brothers just pulled out today, I believe.
Ouch.
They were funding her, and they have ceased to do that anymore. She's, can we blame it on Kamala? Maybe. I don't know. We're looking at, here's some women who want the highest office in the land and maybe aren't just quite ready for it. And by their demeanor and actions and such, in the public eye, the court of public opinion is gone. No, not really. Not ready for, and they're not. I don't think she's really differentiating herself as, okay, here, I've got new and exciting and different ideas and thoughts and processes to move us forward. I'm not sure we're seeing that.
Yeah, probably not, because in Michigan, which is the next
Yep.
primary state, she's down 69 to, I mean, she's at 17.3% to Trump's 69%. Um, there's there's no foreseeable way, unless we get struck by an asteroid, which a lot of us are cheering for, that that Nikki Haley wins the nomination to be president of the United States. I don't see any path. Do you see any path for Nikki Haley to win
No,
the nomination?
not at all. Not at all. And there's she has not given a reasoned excuse for not bowing out.
I
She
think she's
says,
not bound out
I'm not a quitter.
well, because basically she doesn't want to.
Yeah.
Um,
And there's all sorts of speculation as to why and wherefores and what she is or isn't doing. She's looking for a book deal, as a consultant somewhere.
well, you would think with her resume that should already, and her,
Oh yeah,
that should already be the big. I mean, that should be in the bag. Writing a book. Hell, Hillary Clinton wrote a book. Although most people use it to hold up a table at this point. But hell, she wrote a book. I mean, writing a book is not a big deal, especially, hey, you've got GPT chat. Write a book.
yeah, yeah.
Write a book.
Yep, you can knock those things out pretty quick.
Yeah, so I don't think that's one of those things that I don't think it's as big a deal as it used to be. Is there any harm, in your opinion, that Nikki Haley stays in this race? Let's say she manages to stay in the race to almost the bitter end through Super Tuesday.
Let's take a look at something here. Where's my, no, that's Michigan. So here we go. So South Carolina, yeah. So Super Tuesday is March 3rd. So next Tuesday, week from tomorrow. California, Texas, and a whole bunch of other folks. She's got to do. It's a distraction. I don't know that it hurts, but it's a distraction. Even and I'm not really sure that people are really paying attention because everybody's so focused on Trump. So she's that mosquito that that's around. If we want to be united and okay, let's start to move forward. Hey, Nikki, see ya.
Are we? But still, I mean, I remember 2016, where and I've told the story before. In the Florida primary, in this House, there were 3 Republican votes. 2 of them were for Marco Rubio, and the other one was for Ted Cruz. That changed in the general election, obviously, because it wasn't going to be Hillary Clinton getting, or was it going to be I don't know who was running in the Green Party in 2016. You remember?
Jill Stein.
Jill Stein, because my neighbor voted for Jill Stein. My cross the street neighbor voted for Jill Stein, which she's more than welcome to do.
And I only remembered that because her name came up in something I was watching or reading the other day, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, Green Party.
Yeah, Green Party. Who pick their own nominees without spending our money. Thank you.
Yeah. I don't know why. Can we focus on, she's being obstinate, and we could get the thesaurus out and come up with all the other words to describe what she's doing. Yeah, you've got to figure out too that what are her people telling her? Because if they
They've got to see all the inside polling. They've got to see all that, not just what we see at the end of it, and not just the things that we see through Real Clear Politics. They have their own polling thing. They have to know that there is really no path at this point anyway. Today, no path to her winning a nomination.
and especially when you do such a, have such a dismal performance in your home state where you were governor,
Yeah,
and lost dramatically 20 points.
yeah.
It's like, okay, hey, even the people in your home state don't want you. So
Yeah, even the people who like you don't think you should.
yeah.
Youch.
So it's a yeah, I'm not sure. It's optics. It's, let's follow the money, but I don't, what are the people who are advising her, telling her, because they're if that's an indication, then they are as clueless as is she.
Is because they're all, like you said before, there's all sorts of rumors going around. One of the articles written by Gerald Baker from the Wall Street Journal is entitled "Will Haley Voters Save the Day for Joe Biden?" Is that, I mean, is that really a strategy that somehow all of this will push people towards Joe Biden? I mean, when it comes down to it, that doesn't even seem likely. That doesn't even make good sense to me.
No, it doesn't. And the lovely and talented lady of the house was saying, as we were watching something in passing, just watching him even attempt to put some words together is just cringing. It's like, oh my God, I just can't watch this.
No, I don't anymore. You're
And
right.
if you're a reasonable thinking individual, which you and I are,
I try to be.
um,
If I'm not, I usually take a nap and I get up and I feel better.
yeah, that's exactly. You've got, hey, wake up, smell the coffee, do something, but you've got to be aware of the fact that things are not going well and are not going to continue, or are going to continue in the way they're going now, unless we make some changes. And we've got to make some changes. And right now, you and I have talked about this, previously, where's the backbench? At this point, there is no backbench. It's Donald Trump and, whomever he decides to choose as a VP, but other than that, there's nobody who's come out of the, Vivek came out pretty well, but didn't really get enough of the traction. There's nobody in the current backbench, double A, triple A farm teams that has arisen to be a solid contender or somebody to take notice of.
Is it possible that anybody in the in the age of Trump can be a real contender? I mean, not that I'm saying that Trump is the end all and be all, but because of the nature of what's happened, including January 6th and including Russia, all that stuff, and the heartfelt sentiment that people have for President Trump. Is it possible that anybody can you supersede all that and become a real contender? Because we had, when you have a popular governor like mine, who during COVID, frankly, everybody thought this guy hung the moon.
Yep.
Everybody thought this dude hung the friggin' moon. How can, and now, according to favorability results from on Real Clear Politics, he's at a negative 15 on an unfavorable. I mean, more on the unfavorable side than the favorable side. How does that happen? He has a larger unfavorable than Donald Trump. He has the same unfavorable as Joe Biden. Joe Biden has a negative 15.7, and Ron DeSantis has a negative 15. How does that happen? Does he get a negative because he dared to challenge Donald Trump?
Could be. I mean, it's not, there's so much stuff in the weeds on, the whys and wherefores of things like that. You've got to look at people's records, and you've got to look at, who's going to resonate in the court of public opinion. And something that DeSantis did obviously just fell flat.
I mean, he's got a larger unfavorable than Chuck Schumer.
Ooh, how is that possible?
Yeah, my point. What's funny is that
and we haven't seen him. He's not been going over to Ukraine or anything like that. So, Chuck's, that's again a whole nother podcast, folks. But
yeah, and Mitch McConnell has a negative 37.4, which makes sense.
That only that.
if there's a bipartisan hatred for an individual, it's got to be towards Mitch McConnell, that's for sure.
Yeah.
So this time around, it does. The court of public opinion and and the faithful are. I mean, a lot of them are Trump or nobody. Is that healthy?
No, well, no. But like I said, there's not been, and as you and I have talked about, there's not been a backbench. There's nobody that anybody has been grooming to, come out of the AAA for the minor leagues to step up and do the job for the Republican Party. And maybe we liked so much that we had a complete outsider in Donald Trump in 2016 that we said, hey, this, maybe this is the way to go. And, we've been, our political ideals have been kind of colored a little bit in that way.
Yeah, because I mentioned that I thought Donald Trump was this once in a lifetime dude that sort of caught lightning in a bottle in 2016, and being able to do the same thing again is not going to be nearly as easy, because a lot of once people see your playbook, once you play a game and they see your playbook, you're a lot easier to play against. So I mean, this idea that people have that Donald Trump is the savior, he's the only one, I think battles against anybody being on the bench. That pitcher is not coming off the bench if the guy who's starting, if everybody thinks that he can throw 9 innings of hitless baseball in a World Series, no one's coming off the bench.
No,
there's no bench. You might as well just take the bench and break it into firewood. Because if people think that your starter is invincible as the only one that can win a game for you, then you're not going to have a backbench.
No,
because anybody who tries to be on that backbench, Nikki Haley, is one of them at this point. All that anybody wants Nikki Haley to do is quit. Nikki Haley being in the race for me doesn't matter. I don't care. She's not a distraction for me. Whatever I'm thinking, whatever you have money to do, honey, just go ahead and do what you do. Go where your heart leads you to go. That's fine. I don't think you're going to win. I don't think there's a way possible that you can win, and maybe you don't either. But run for what you want to run when you want to do it. Go ahead. Go right ahead. Because I know where the polls. I mean, when you go, these elections are showing place after place, you're getting crushed, absolutely crushed. And now, if you want to keep playing the game until the very end, and you go down to the convention here, in the summer, and you get crushed in the convention, okay, fine. It doesn't hurt me. It doesn't. I don't think it hurts anything. I think the problem is with Republican voters, Paul, is that we have a tendency to be a little Pollyannish, if I can use that term. Well, I said it without stuttering, about how we think about these things, and we're not very realistic about how they really are.
Well, right. And I think part of, to go back to what we talked about a little bit earlier, we need to start developing the bench at the local level. We need to start raising up this. The other thing is we have become so enamored with not about the superfluous stuff on the outside, rather than, hey, economy, border, healthcare.
Squirrel.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. We're we've been so ingrained in all this other stuff that we've lost sight of the truly important things.
Boy, oh boy, that is the truth. All we need to know is just, and especially if whatever it is the least bit salacious, just a little bit salacious. So now, I mean, that takes us right down in the rabbit hole, completely away from all the things that matter. The invasion that's happening on our southwestern border, which is nothing more than an invasion. You can't call it anything else.
Nope.
I mean, when you have millions of people who are wandering, who aren't supposed to be here, from all sorts of places in the world, especially the ones from the places in the world that hate us, and who have declared that we are their avowed enemy, wandering around the country, and we don't even know where they are.
Yeah.
When cities like New York and Chicago are and even DC are screaming for help, and I think legitimately screaming for help, because they just can't, they somehow can't handle the influx. Now, how they thought that some of these small border towns on the southern border could somehow absorb all this, I don't know how they thought that was going to happen.
Well, and like you said, they're not talking about it, and nobody on a national basis is talking about it.
No,
there's no, there's nothing. There's not like the Iran hostages. There's 50. Every night, day 32 of there's not that going on. We had, what was it, 1,000, 1,100, 1,200, something like that, of those folks, these illegal aliens, illegal immigrants, bussed up or airlifted to a town here in southern Wisconsin. The town can't handle that.
Not at all.
They're screaming, and they're not addressing, as is the federal government not addressing the issue. Oh, we've got to help these people. No, you got to close the border, then figure it out. If you don't have a way to do that, or don't think you can do it, then say, we don't know what to do. Okay, let's bring in somebody who does. Let's build a wall.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Lawson doctrine is that we should probably end all immigration for about 10 years until we get this figured out. Other countries have done that. Other countries have said, yeah, you can visit, but you can't stay.
Yep.
And actually we've done it before in our history where you can visit, but you can't stay. We don't have any room for any more citizens because we've got this mess that we got to figure out.
Yep.
And it might take 10 years to do. And I know when I say that, people look at me like, you're insane. Maybe, but I'm not wrong.
No.
I don't think I'm wrong.
Nope.
That, we ought to just say, nope, nope, we are pausing immigration or naturalization in the United States for the next 10 years. That's all there is to it. So what are you doing with people who sit across the border? We have U.S. Air. We've hired U.S. Air and United Airlines and Southwest to fly them back to their home countries.
We're bringing 3 or 4 dozen alligators from the Okefenokee Swamp and putting them in the Rio Grande.
Yes, so we're gonna rehome some of these gators we have in Florida. And yes, and if we have to have our National Guard, because that's in the name, I don't know, a National Guard be on the borders in these places to protect our borders, then so be it.
Yep.
Yes. And it's going to look heartless and terrible and mean, and I can't believe people just want a better life. Yeah, but the problem is, the people who want a better life are being murdered by these other folks. These
Yep.
innocent people who are involved in all this are being murdered and left in trailers in the desert by these other people and dying.
Yep.
Yeah. So the message needs to get to them. Yeah, just stay where you are. Do the best you can. I know your life sucks where you are. I know that you live in a crap hole country. I got you. I got you. But you can't come here because it's not working. We can't get you here safely, and we can't keep you here because we don't have the resources to do so.
Well, there's not only resources, but infrastructure.
No,
There's
not
just
at all.
no infrastructure.
Not at all. So
hey, give them all an electric car and let them figure it out.
yeah, that's what we can do. We can just give them all. They come to the border, get the electric cars, and they can drive back south. Yes. See, now you're all fixed. You got an EV. You're all fixed. Congratulations.
That's right. Give them all the ones that Ford hasn't been able to sell, and let them head south.
Give them a Chevy Volt.
Yeah.
But this is the kind of things that nobody in this primary season is talking about. People spend a lot of time talking about DeSantis's boots, which was weird, I thought was very weird. Why? Do you see me? Let me get, because we're going to finish this up in a second. Do you see, after what happened in 2020? God, it seems like such a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like forever ago. Did you happen to see the movie 2000 Mules?
No, I have not. I have read enough about it from Dinesh, but I did not. We have not seen that.
I got a link early on the night.
Shame on me.
I got a link on the night that it was released, and I clicked on it and I watched it. When I went back to watch it again, they had shut down. Somebody had shut the link down because it was supposed to be a pay link, but I don't know. I don't remember who sent it to me. But I clicked on it and I watched it, and it's crazy the things that went on.
Yeah.
However, I've not heard Trump or anybody from the RNC, because Rona is resigning soon, isn't she? Is she out of it?
The 6th, like on the 6th or so, something like that.
Something like that. So she's out, but I haven't heard anybody, none of the other pundits, talk about has anybody put anything in place to keep what happened in 2020. Now we don't have COVID. At least we don't have COVID yet. Anyway, just saying. I ain't trying to wish COVID on nobody, but we don't have COVID yet. So we won't have the same circumstances. Anybody figured out how to keep what happened in 2020 from happening again?
The only thing I've seen here, again, bringing it back to the local, is the Wisconsin GOP has been screaming for poll watchers. That's what they want. I did that, in 16, and not in 16, in 20.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, you need to do that, and it not only needs to be that, but they also, each and every Wisconsin, starting with Wisconsin, each and every state needs to have their voter rolls scrubbed.
Yes. You got to get the dead folks. You got to get the dead folks off the ballots. What do you do with states that send out a mail-in ballot or absentee ballot to everybody, whether they ask for it or not?
Nope, it's not a valid election.
I think Oregon does that. And
yeah,
there are a few other states.
Oregon and or Washington, maybe.
Yeah, they both do. They send out a ballot, an absentee ballot to everybody, whether they request it or not. And of course, keeping up with them I think is almost an impossible task. Especially if you don't want to keep up with them.
No.
Just saying. I hate them. Just saying. But I haven't talked to anybody other than what you're talking about, because I think that's a lot of the going forward in the solution is to be a poll watcher, get involved in that process, because what we need is people on the other side of the glass.
Yep.
We all saw the pictures and the video of some of the observers on the outside of the glass, as it's being covered up.
Yep.
Now, I don't understand how people saw that and didn't start having questions. That just blows me away. But so I think that that's really that's a central part of the strategy. But are any of the, again, Donald Trump ought to be saying every day, thanks for coming to my rally. Have you signed up to be a poll watcher here in this state? Well, you need to. And we got somebody here. I go to the table and you can sign up here. You can get the information here.
Yep.
Well,
Well,
that's
and
not happening.
yeah, and the other thing, the overall structure of the elections needs to change to say up and I'm pretty sure on this one day, yeah, let's make it a national holiday. You go up, you show up in person with your ID, you do a paper ballot, and that's it.
We used to do that.
Yeah.
before all them computer stuff and the interweb. We used to do that. We used to go on this Tuesday in November. We would all just go and vote. Some of us had to go before work. Some of us had to go after work.
Yep.
Some jobs they let you go at lunchtime.
I voted on one of the old mechanical metal. You walked in and you pulled the lever and it shut the blue, curtains behind you, and yeah, and you clicked the various, vote people to vote for. Yep, exactly.
And then when you left, that's what actually telling the vote.
That's how it was tabulated. Yeah.
I didn't, I never had a chance to vote on one of those. I guess I could have, had I been a more responsible teenager, but
well, that was when we still lived in Chicago, the Chicagoland area. So
got it. Didn't do that. I think the very first time I voted was. It's funny, really enough. I think it was a system similar to what we have now, like a Scantron system. And then we went to a touchscreen system, and that was only for a couple of years. And now we're back to the Scantrons. So that way, there's a paper backup.
Well, there's a paper trail, which is good. You still need the paper trail.
Yeah. So, but that's that's been my question all along. Do we have a way to really prevent what happened in 2020? Because I'm of the mind that there was some fishy crap that went on. I don't know how else to say it. I don't know how else to say it and keep this video on YouTube, but there was some fishy crap that went on, and even the appearance of the ability for fishy crap to go on to be something that we should all really be concerned about.
Yes, indeed. It
shouldn't look like it looked. Whether there was anything that happened or not is almost immaterial. It should never have looked that bad.
No, if it's suspect, then it's suspect and it needs to be dealt with.
It needs to be dealt with. That's very true. All right, before we get out of here, one more time, Paul, tell everybody how to find you, get hold of your stuff, support you if they want to, because I think they ought to. I really do think they ought
well, that would be appreciated. Yes. Hey, look for us on Fight Back Media on all your usual social media suspect places, Facebook, Twitter,
X.
Yeah, X or whatever. Both Swansen Report and Fight Back Media is probably the best spot we can run everybody that way. And you can find our postings and links to other stuff for which we have posted. So, and don't forget your new merch.
Oh yeah. If you go to fightbackmedia.com, fightbackmedia.com, you can click on the merch site. And there's some stuff coming. I have some things that have been there for a while, and now we're coming with some new stuff. There's the newest is just a big QR code that you can walk around and have people scan you and then be pissed off when it takes them to the fightbackmedia.com website, which I think is hysterical, by the way. I'm about ready to print some stickers, and I'm about ready to take those stickers out and I don't know what do they call that. when you mark up a place where you're not supposed to be. There's a word for that. What's that word? What's that word, Paul?
It goes littering.
Littering. Yeah. I'm about to put those QR codes everywhere I can think of.
Bus
And
stops, the
oh
the
yeah,
grocery store, all
yeah,
that
the
stuff.
grocery store, the bathroom at the Publix, everywhere.
Yeah.
So yeah, so yeah, check out you can pick up some gear and some cups and that kind of thing, but all that, some apparel and cups and all that stuff. If you go to the fightbackmedia.com website.
You
All right,
betcha.
and you'll be able to hear the podcast. You'll be able to see the daily podcast called the Morning Report. We are approaching 1,000 morning reports, Paul.
Yeehaw! I remember 500.
I do. I remember 300. I was just happy I got the first couple. I mean, I got YouTube to keep the first couple up.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, because this whole nonsense started off on Blog Talk Radio years ago. Back in March.
My how the technology has changed.
March 2000. March of 2008. The last week in March, as I remember, and we are still at it. We are still at it near about every day.
Yes, indeedy.
And you know the best part, Paul, is that sadly sometimes, but we've been proven right the entire time.
Yep.
We've been proven right the entire time. And today I could have used myself some Andrew Breitbart. I really could. I'd love to have him. That dude's still alive right now. That would be fantastic.
You betcha.
All right, we got to get out of here and make room for somebody else. So until we see you again, go out there and learn something, love somebody, and for goodness sakes, I'll take care of yourself. Thank you, Paul, for
thank you, everybody,
for spending some time with us, and take care of yourself until we see you again. Bye now. And we click the button.